Game of Thrones is over. Game of Thrones is over.
It's finished.
GOT has gone. And it's been like years and years and years. Although for us, actually, it's only been about 13 months, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Because we kind of watched it all in one big heap running up to today. So obviously it's the final episode. We're not going to go into as much detail because there's less to kind of be intrigued about, is there, really? Because it's ended.
Yeah.
We're not wondering what's going to happen next week because there is no week. What does it feel like when there's no next week? It's weird, isn't it?
Like nothingness.
You know, there are apparently 20,000 people learning Dothraki language. Yeah, the languages are like Tolkien's languages taking on an entire life of their own. So I think people will keep Game of Thrones alive, won't they, in the real world?
Yeah.
I think there'll be reenactments
Yeah.
of the fights and the battles. And
I hope not.
No, I hope not too, because we'd have mass carnage.
Yeah.
Okay, so this episode started. So at the end of the last one, we didn't believe that Cersei and Jaime were genuinely killed by falling masonry, did we? We thought that can't be the way they've gone. It can't be a pile of bricks that killed them.
Yeah, we did.
And so we saw Tyrion walking through the debris. I thought it was a nice beginning.
Yeah, because the last episode you were asking where Tyrion was.
Yeah, I get like an irritating bastard. I kept asking, where's Tyrion?
And there he was.
There he was. It's like they've forgotten to edit these shots in.
Yeah.
Because they could have put them in the last one and really given us some sort of creative drama. But there he was.
Walking around.
It must have been nice for him, though, at that point, because the city was razed to the ground. Everything was sort of at his level. Do you know what I mean?
You cannot put that in.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
He talks about it himself.
No, I know, but that's not nice.
It's fine. Tyrion's fine with it.
Yeah, and he's looking very kind of distressed because
Wow.
he's seen all the dead children and stuff.
Because he's realised, I tell you what it reminded me of this point. It felt a bit Hunger Gamesy with all the sort of banners and the greyness, the grey grade on it, and sort of Daenerys sort of walking out to that crowd.
Yeah.
And all of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you liked how quiet it was, didn't you?
I liked how quiet it was
build.
at the beginning because I felt we might be building to something.
Yes.
Or...
And then Tyrion goes down into the antechambers underneath the keep and I thought we were going to get a really exciting moment where, I don't know, Jaime sort of staggered to life, or Cersei kind of, pulled a brick off her head and went, I'm all right. Or that he was going to tear the baby from her and we were going to have like, rah, the king and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because let's not forget she was pregnant too. And instead what happened was Tyrion picked up stones and
he found Jaime's hand.
Found Jaime. That's very sad.
Not Jaime's hand, Jaime's metal replacement of a hand.
Yeah.
And he was crying.
Yeah.
And taking off all the rocks to reveal them they're still holding each other.
It was a very sweet image.
Yeah, it was quite dark, wasn't it? I liked that image of him
it was quite fetal.
crying and them both holding each other.
They weren't twins, were they? They were brother and sister, but they weren't twins because there was something fetal about the two of them. They were sort of like, sort of encased in a sort of... Again, it reminded me of Pompeii. The only problem I had with that scene, and I thought Peter Dinklage played it really well, was I could see that the bricks he was picking up were made of polystyrene. And as he threw them, they'd edited the sound of them going...
I couldn't.
Have a look
it looked believable.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so that was very moving. So at that point, that was within 5-10 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was
we
really
knew for
early
certain that Cersei and Jaime were dead.
It's a pretty nasty way to go. Still crushed by.
Yeah, I mean, although we were saying masonry isn't a dramatic way to go, it's a pretty horrible way to go.
Yeah,
that's true. It's true.
And she was pregnant.
I think they'd have looked a bit more mashed up, didn't you? If all those stones had fallen on them. They looked idyllic, in fact, in death.
But they were, weren't they?
So then I said Daenerys is behaving like... I thought Daenerys' narrative arc was like Anakin Skywalker's.
Well, a lot of fans are annoyed about her narrative arc. They said this is probably the most pointless narrative arc that's ever existed.
That's interesting.
Because why would they make her... Why would you put so much effort into making her seem like the best queen?
Yes.
And she's, against slavery. She's saving all of these innocent lives.
Yes.
And then just completely switches.
Well,
part of me does think that it's a pointless narrative arc because of her. But part of me also likes how they twisted it so much.
Well, I like the fact that they twisted it, but I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that she'd have said half the sort of, emancipatory things that she was saying about freeing people and being the people's queen. And it was just too much of a corner turned.
Yeah.
unless she was feeling hormonal.
She could have been.
Yeah. So at this point, so there's Daenerys standing in front of her crowd, her sort of gaggle of sort of. What about the soldiers on the horses with their curly knives? The Dothrakis, they were really sort of. They were sort of fired up, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Fired up. Yeah, they wanted to go somewhere. They were like hemmed in, and they clearly.
Well, let's go somewhere.
Yeah, let's go somewhere.
Party.
Let's go and hack heads off.
Yeah.
They clearly had a lot of unexpended energy left.
Yeah.
So Daenerys, like any good queen, said, we're going to go and invade lots of other people, but under the guise of liberating them, that's why we're going to go around and basically raze everywhere to the ground.
Yeah.
And at that point, Tyrion looked very angry.
Yeah. And that's where Tyrion walked up to her, didn't he? And he just took his
badge that he bought
badge
from
off.
Forbidden Planet.
And he threw it.
Threw it on the floor.
And she
that guaranteed him in the cellar, so he was thrown off. So yeah, and at this point, I have to say, I use a word which your mum won't like me saying because she's just off camera here, but I thought Jon Snow was a bit of a pussy.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey. I thought he was a total pussy. I mean, I was like, come on, put it together, mate.
Yeah, I know. He was being really pathetic.
Really pathetic and just really wussy and just kind of like a moody, petulant teenager just sort of skulking in the shadows.
I was like, just step up your game.
Yeah, it was just like, it's just like he wasn't happy with anything, but he wouldn't say anything. It's like, if you're going to be here, be present, say something. He was really annoying me. So then Tyrion's taken prisoner, and there was a nice sort of chat, wasn't there?
Tyrion.
Jon goes in to see Tyrion,
Yeah.
doesn't he? And Tyrion kind of urges Jon to take action.
To do something.
And this was really, and the reason we're going to talk in detail up to this point and probably not in much detail afterwards is I thought this was the most interesting, obviously, point in this episode, wasn't it? Because
it was, because Tyrion was basically telling Jon to stop being such a wimp.
Pussy.
And actually do something.
Yeah.
About her. And, he was saying, like, each time a man kind of supports her, like I have been for months, she becomes more... She starts to convince herself she's being good more and more when she really isn't. I
think that sometimes can be said of a lot of other women I know.
And Jon just kind of looks like, I don't know, I just felt like he wasn't going to do anything about it. Like he was just saying to please Tyrion and was just going to be like...
He's still being a petulant.
I love you.
Yeah. He's still sort of saying, she's a queen.
I also felt a bit weird when he called her Dany. It felt a bit like
Dany?
common.
I know what you mean. It was like they were in...
Stop it,
It was
Dan.
like they were in Thornton Heath.
Yeah.
Let's go and meet Dany down at West Norwood.
He was like, don't do this, Dany. I was like, Dany.
No, Dany's Daenerys, for God's sake. Just because you snogged, she's your aunt. So obviously, I quite like that. So I thought Jon Snow was going to stay sort of like a petulant teenager. And then I thought the most beautiful shot in the whole episode was him walking up to, was it the keep or where the Iron Throne is? Where the Iron Throne is, and where Daenerys is standing there looking at it, kind of, finally, it's a bit like a lightsaber moment. And she's sort of looking at it all kind of, I'm going to be really strong in a minute. And there was a really nice shot, I thought, of Jon Snow walking into there, and the dragon came out of the snow and sort of sniffed him and let him go in. Of course, I guess that's because Jon's a bit dragon.
Yeah, a bit dragon.
If he did his ancestry test, it would sort of say about 35% dragon.
Daenerys walks everywhere.
I did at one point. Has anyone else noticed that someone needs to do a Game of Thrones edit? Daenerys never stops walking. She's constantly
either walking or standing.
She's constantly walking places, standing, and then walking to the next place. But I've never seen her sit down.
No, she's sat down.
Sometimes she's on a dragon.
Really does it.
But she does a lot of walking. But what I mean is she sort of walks nowhere particular. It's like from one end of a huge hall to another end of a huge hall. And she didn't even go right up to the throne. She, she sort of veered off. It was kind of strange. Very strange.
She did.
That's NADIA in the background trying to get out. Throne moment, bit of a throne moment. Jon and Daenerys, I thought he was still being a wimp, and what the bloody hell happened? Close the back door, hold the front page.
Do the turnaround.
Shake your legs and go, hooby-dooby-doo. What did Jon Snow do?
He stabbed her in the heart.
And they didn't even show us the knife. It just happened. There was a moment where I didn't know who had stabbed who.
Yeah, that was good. Do
you know what I would have done? I'd have made them stab each other.
Really?
Yeah, but you see? That's more dramatic.
Both done it at the same time.
Yeah, if they'd both done it at the same time.
We all know that Daenerys is terrible with a knife.
Yes, she is, isn't
she? She tried to defend Ian.
Oh, yeah, she's not very good. She's not very good at hand-to-hand battle, is she? No, you're right. So, yeah.
But that was shocking.
That was shocking.
She had some blood come from her nose too, didn't
She had blood. She had a bit of an 11 moment from Stranger Things. But two things happened there. We lost Daenerys. The dragon was bloody upset, but the dragon did nothing other. It looked like, watch it again. It looks like he goes to breathe that Jon Snow misses and can't hit his target. But then we lost not only Daenerys, but we also lost
the Iron Throne.
Now, I thought that was a majorly symbolic, stupid thing to do.
Yeah, it was a stupid symbolic thing.
Yeah. I thought it was stupid.
Really, it bothered me because now it's like nobody else can sit on it.
And it bothered me that Daenerys was dead. Because let's not beat about the bush. The whole will she, won't she, what's she going to do, who is she a nutter, isn't she a nutter, is she going to come round, I thought they completely threw away all the drama that you still potentially had between her and Jon Snow. I thought they didn't have any number of scenes that they could have been working that shit out, trying to double guess each other, him possibly having to plan. I thought Arya was going to have to do something. I thought she hated Daenerys so much. I thought and what was really weird was this happened in part 2. So we had another sort of 50 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And
happened really early on.
What did you think?
I just...
I mean, we watched it late, but...
because part of me, because I've wanted Daenerys to die for a while.
Yeah.
She's been so evil and irritating. But, like you said, it just seemed... Her death as well seemed like a real throwaway card.
It was such a throwaway moment.
It was really just... Like, her death itself wasn't even dramatic. She died really soon after being stabbed.
Yes. Yeah, not even a passing word.
And I just felt...
I'm going to put it out there. I thought this was one of the worst Game of Thrones episodes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I thought it was absolutely appalling. And I think what really worries me about the whole bloody thing is that the two creators, Benioff and whatever his name is, who is it? Benioff and Weiss, they directed this one. And they're responsible for the next incoming completely new trilogy of Star Wars. That is a real worry. Not because necessarily... I mean, let's not forget, they're not working from George R.R. Martin's written work here. At this point, they're working from having they've consulted with George R.R. Martin, but this isn't the actual story. And I think you began to feel it.
Yeah.
They're not masterful storytellers.
No, it was such a bad episode.
It was such a bad episode.
Such a bad episode.
I mean, it makes me angry in the way that Crazy Rich Asians made me angry. I felt like they just threw everything thousands of people have spent money, time, emotion, YouTube, time, talking, analysing and supporting this franchise. And then I thought they had the most insipid, limpid little final...
Yeah, I mean, even like the last episode...
Yeah.
It could have ended there and I would have been happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happier.
But it didn't do any of the things of... I mean, and you had this really sort of portentous kind of writing the book, Brienne and all that kind of stuff. Brienne, is it? And then Bran was made king.
Yeah, that annoyed me.
I thought that whole scene was stupid.
That was really bad.
Them all just standing up like ordinary punters at a do, and it's just It's so undramatic.
And Bran didn't even look that happy about...
But Bran doesn't look happy about anything. Bran's inexpressive in the extreme. And then I thought there was a moment where, is it Brienne of wherever? She was writing the entry, wasn't she, for Jamie? And I said to Maddie, she's finishing off his Wikipedia entry.
Yeah.
It's like, this is how they're going to... But then even then, at the end, when they were clearly, recreating the council of Bran's governance, if you like, round the table... They had a scene of so-called comedy with Robson and Jerome guy who'd come back, who was promising to kill the brothers.
Oh, yeah. Remember? I actually found out that him and the actress that plays Cersei were together in real life.
Oh, were they?
And they broke up, and the bosses of Game of Thrones had to keep their characters apart.
Really?
So that was why there was no crossover with his character and Cersei.
Oh, my God, that's a good story. Yeah. So we had, and then in the final part, we had Arya going off to sea. Mm-hmm. Pointless.
That was very pointless. And predictable. That she was then suddenly captain of a ship.
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't make any sense. Why was it? Was it even predictable?
Well, I mean, not predictable, but just kind of like, well, that's just so...
Obvious.
And
then we had Jon Snow returning to the Night Watch, which, as someone else said on YouTube, he didn't have to, really.
No.
So, them all wandering off into the woods. I don't know.
I just found it a bit...
Sansa was Queen of the North.
It was a pointless episode.
It was an utterly pointless episode.
Series feel pointless.
It was an utterly pointless episode that all it served to do was diminish the 5. I thought there was some really strong, well, I thought they were all really, really strong. And I thought that what they probably thought was, we've only got 5, we can't give the public 5, we've got to give the public 6. And they just constructed this absolute nonsense out of the last one.
Yeah, it's terrible.
What do you think, guys? Do you think...
It seemed like it was going to be a lead up to another episode. And...
Yeah.
Like, and even then it would have been terrible, but it just...
But it's left no cliffhangers, no edges. Yes, you've potentially got Arya heading off somewhere and you've got someone else heading off somewhere.
Cliffhanger that was never going to be resolved for us.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, some of the finales of the other seasons have been better than that.
Oh, totally. But some of the most boring episodes of the other seasons have been better than the end of the entire bloody franchise. I thought that was appallingly directed. I thought it was appallingly structured. It was badly written. Bad story
Well, it
arc.
wasn't much...
No dialogue. Well, forgetting that, but it was just, and it left us with not a single kind of untied thread to even go, oh, I could entertain that. I just wasn't left thinking anything.
Yeah, no, me neither.
I think the new Star Wars trilogy is doomed if that's the best they've got.
That was bad. And there was a plastic bottle in one of the shots.
Was there?
In the bit where they're all sitting around talking about brand me, I'm going to be king. There's a plastic bottle by one of their legs.
That's
apparently.
so funny, a plastic bottle. It feels like someone's just sort of taken their hand off the tiller and just let it go a little bit.
Yeah, but
it's like everyone gave up, including Daenerys. After all that fight, she's just like, oh. It was just Bran, Arya on a ship.
Yeah.
They're all just like,
Sansa became king of the North.
But even Sansa had bugger all to say.
Yeah, she did.
It was boring. It was
boring.
plain old-fashioned boring. If anyone came in and watched that, they'd go, what the bloody hell is all the fuss about?